West Side. To live in Don LA, where everybody try to fatten their pocket. So many hustle for the cash, so it's hard to knock it. Everybody got their own thing, currency chasing. Worldwide through the hard times, worrying faces.
Well, hello. God bless you, community family, and welcome to Gang Talk. Tonight, we have a different looking Skipp Townsend.
A darker version.
This is my adopted child, one of my children. I told you I'm a collector, and I'm so proud and honored to have Marcus with us tonight. Marcus, thank you for coming and sitting in for Skipp.
Well, you know, I'm always thankful to be here anyway because I get to sit next to you and learn some stuff. And I get to look at Felicia on the other side of the window over there. And, you know, I like to come where it's positive, you know, and I'm always happy to be here, man. It's always fun for me. I learn a lot. Hopefully I help someone learn something.
You did.
But this is a blessing for me always.
Yes.
You know?
And you become a blessing for us, too.
Thank you.
You know, because I remember you say you learned a lot, but you taught us a few things when we had the mothers of murdered sons come on the show. And we got a chance to cross-examine you.
Yeah.
Yes, and ask you all those questions. So
I had my mama mad. She told me the other day. She said, I was sitting in the room. He's trying to tell you. She was sitting there telling me her little story about that day.
Well, how did she feel about it?
She enjoyed it. She just was a mother about it at the end of the day. Like, you know, he's trying to tell you basically what it's the choices that kids make. It's not what the mothers can do. At the end of the day, all the mothers can do is try to make sure nothing is condoned in their neighborhood. You know,
right. I'm having a little trouble with my earphones, and I'm going to get that fixed in a minute. But you know, the joy for the mothers at night was to ask you the questions that they were unable to ask their own children and get a reasonable answer. And that was a hard thing, is that we really wanted to know, as women, as parents, as mothers, as those that raised you and loved you so much, what part did we say to you to reach you, to keep you out of harm's way? And so you gave us the honest answer. Do you remember what you said?
You know, it's the choices.
Yeah.
You know, it's our choices. It's not nothing that you can do as a mother to keep me out of trouble. At the end of the day, I have to make that choice. The last choice is mine. So even if you sit there and tell me and I shouldn't do it and whip me a million times, at the end of the day, I got to think about it and you know, make the choice to change myself. I got to be the change that I want to see.
Right.
So,
but you know what, truthfully and in fairness to you and your generation, a lot of mothers went through that same kind of scenario with our sons. It's like, you know, I'm going to go do this. I don't know how to explain it to you, Mom, but I'm going out here. I'm going to do this.
I used to do that, too. I ran away. The first time I ran away from home, I was like 14. 14. And my mom used to call around everybody and tell them, I'm going to put you in jail because you harboring a minor, because she wanted me back home. I didn't understand that back then. I
14 and hard-headed.
Yeah, I held a lot of bitterness towards my mother. You know, a lot for the times that I was out there. But you know, as I grew, you know, and I did my little prison time or whatever, I had a chance to sit and learn, you know, about myself mostly, but mostly about, you know, my family ties, you know. And I think that's, you know, for those that's sitting in those walls, I think that's the one thing that we all think about at night. You know, it's whether or not our families are okay, but at the same time, our family ties, how are they? You know, and whether or not, you know, my cousin is going to be the same cousin I had when I left.
Right.
Or my brother going to be the same person, you know, when I left, because they got lives, you know.
Right. Well, let's back up, because you know what, I forgot to thank our guest from last week, because we were talking before the show and you did a live feed and I lost my track of where I am. But, you know, it's always our custom to thank our guest from last week, and we really want to thank Kawisi Nesbitt. I always say his name wrong, Nesbitt, but for coming, because he's a young man in your age group. And we'd like to talk to you because you're the ones that are going to be reaching out to the generation following you. And for elders like me, I'm too far removed.
You're not that far, because you get it. I mean, I get it from you, and tell they get it from me.
Yeah.
So I use my own critical thinking with what you tell me when I talk to you, and I try to make sure I tell a lot of people, in that sense. They might not listen to me sometimes, and they get frustrated when I say stuff, and they, most people say, like my aunt. I was at my family reunion Saturday. And my aunt told me, it just out the blue, I didn't even know she was watching me or even looking, but because I don't do it for that reasons, So she walked up to me and she said, Marcus, you need to keep doing what you're doing. You inspired me. And I said, how I inspire you? And she was telling me how, all the radio shows and the posts, she watched me grow up, from a baby. So all the things I've probably done in my life and the bad acts I did as a kid, she's been there and saw that. In me growing up. So, hearing her say that, it touched me a lot, because I didn't even think she was watching, her particularly. So, it's good for people to try to, inspire others, and I think I do it because, I was uninspired for a long time.
Well, in fairness to us as a people, that is our history. Inspiring each other, because traditionally we haven't had anybody to help us but us. So that's always been our backstory. What can we do to help ourselves? Until that nightmare showed up and divided us in the worst possible way. And I really want to say that because, Kawisi comes from Kentucky. All right. And bless his heart, his father was an activist. And the one thing about the East and the South, they have the solid foundation of black history. From slavery to freedom, emancipation, the struggle, all of that. We don't have those kind of roots in Los Angeles. So to hear from someone that comes from the hateful South, born and raised in there, and to hear his interpretation on what our men can do for themselves now is very encouraging. And at the same time, I also want to say that today actually is my anniversary, in that I was married to a man born and raised in the hateful South, in the city of New Orleans, Louisiana. And we were married for many, many decades, and I'm so sorry to say that we were married longer than the lives of a lot of these young folks that we have buried. We were married longer than those young folks lived. So what my husband showed me in who he was a character in our men that so many of them don't realize they have. It's a natural thing in you that needs to be enhanced, that maybe others are fearful of you for that reason. But we have turned it against ourselves. Whatever that is, we turn it against ourselves. And that was something that my husband Dale never understood, because he was raised, as I said, by the hateful South. And I didn't really know overt racism until I actually went to New Orleans for the first time. I was born here in Los Angeles, so I know California racism. But when you go to the South, it hits you in the face. And so I had my first experience going with him, and he kind of had, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. Because I was so upset about it. And upset's a nice word. I was really, really livid. And he wanted me to know, well, you're in a place where it's different. It's different. And these people will hurt you. They will hurt you. And walking through the mall, walking through the market, having those encounters with them, it's like, yeah, they will hurt me. So I could get in a lot of trouble just coming down here to visit. So it was quite an eye-opener for me, being kind of anesthetized by California, not seeing it as confrontational as that was in that time. So
it was. I mean, I don't even still today. I do it, and I think it's just because I don't condone a lot of stuff. It's not me trying to be rebellious to the police or, I don't like you, none of that. It's just me not being able to condone the conditions they try to put me in, and I think that's, a lot of people tell me, you got a hot head, you shouldn't, talk to them people like that. I'm not scared of them.
No, and to be fair to you and all the rest of us, we really haven't had a reason to be, I don't even know the right word, to interact with law enforcement in the way they wish that we would. They have not been friendly to us historically in this city. They have not been friendly to Dale's community. So these are the facts of our history, and that's one of the things we've been working on with them since Daryl Gates. So it's not anything they've given us. It's not anything that they have backed up from their conduct to give us a pass. And so these are things we've had to challenge them on, not only LAPD, but the sheriffs as well. And then the unfortunate thing with even the highway patrol and the beating of Marlene Pinnock on the freeway, we still have work to do with law enforcement. So if our young people don't respect them, they need to ask themselves, well, how can I make that change? See, because I'm not going to ask my children to respect any officer that's going to disrespect them.
Exactly.
The only thing I want my kids to do is to survive the encounter. But
you got to think before you act. Like, you can't just sit and fuck the police. Excuse my language, but
well, we can think it, and we do.
You can think it,
but you can't act on it.
Saying it just to be saying it, and you don't have that mindset to actually push forward, and you looking for somebody to follow you to do it. That don't, they'll shoot you dead, man. They don't even care about your life. So if my best opinion, you gotta be better at wit than them, man, because they think everybody's stupid. That's what they taught in training.
Well, they think all black men are criminals. They think you're a threat. That's the first thing they see when they see your face, is that you're a potential threat to them. And
they taught to make you react.
Yeah. Well, they're conditioned that way. They're conditioned that way. And like Skipp said a couple of weeks ago, they think of us like animals in the zoo.
They show it with the cages they got in prison. You go outside. You're not going into a cell, outside for yard in the hole, and then you going into a box like that booth. It's a fenced box. You can see the people. You got your own toilet in your cage, but at the end of the day, they want you to be animals and beasts. So. Yes.
And they promise to see you when you come back.
Yeah, they tell you before you leave. You'll be back.
Yeah, you'll be back.
I did all that time, and I still heard that.
Yes.
I'm like, there's no way you going to get paid from me no more. That's over with. And the CO couldn't actually, I actually told the CO that. Like, the CO actually got mad about it. Excuse me. But, I mean, it's a lot of times where when you're dealing with law enforcement, the problem comes from they're trying to escalate it, and you're the one trying to de-escalate it. It's supposed to be the other way around,
You know what? We don't have the opportunity to live in a community-minded police force. See, that's the one thing South LA has never had from LAPD, is a community-minded police force. They've always come in as the adversary way back. Way back.
When they was on horses.
Well, it's just been a thing that always has been. And, responsible for 65 and the overt and just disrespectful way that they were handling us back then and killing us with the chokehold. Now they just shoot you. They don't bother with anything else. No explanation, no nothing. They just shoot you, and if they shoot you,
and they use cameras to do it.
Well,
the body camera is not meant for us. It's not meant to save us.
No,
it's meant for when they go to internal affairs after they shoot somebody. That's what it's for.
Well, this is why we don't have the cameras, though, Marcus. Exactly. This is why we don't have the cameras, and I'm going to keep on saying that until they give us those body cameras they promised us 2-3 years ago. They're already paid for. Why doesn't South Bureau have that equipment yet? And the other thing on top of that, because I didn't really come here to bang on the police tonight, but they're going to start using drones. Mm-hmm. They're going to start using drones. They've already started.
In certain places, they already started using drones.
I'm not surprised, but the point is we're still waiting on those body cameras, and they've already jumped over the body cameras, and now they're going to use drones. I'm going to keep going back to the body cameras until we get that answer. You had me come to a focus group, ask me all about these questions. Oh, it's going to be a good thing. It's going to help everybody. Yeah, okay. If you say so, but how are they going to be controlled by the officer wearing them? Do they have a chance to cheat the camera system by turning it off, disconnecting it? How are you able to monitor what goes on with that camera? So we ask them real questions. And then they said, well, they tell us, well, no, the officer can't really control what happens, but he doesn't have to turn the camera on.
That's true.
Yeah, he doesn't have to turn the camera on. So, if you get those partners that we used to have that were doing bad in the neighborhood, they would be the ones that never turn their camera on. You'll never know what happened. Mm-hmm. So we're still pushing for those body cameras, and if anybody knows anybody that has any say-so in that, we'd like for you to get involved and help us get an answer about that. Because I did say that they killed 4 young men last summer in 3 months, and they did. And someone inferred at the meeting last night, well, sometimes they have to do their job. Okay? So let's not just go around assuming everybody's innocent. But the problem is when they do that and then they close the door behind them, we never get to find out. So that's one of our problems with them to this day is communication. And we had a sheriff killing just a few weeks ago. Another situation where we don't know why they chose him in the middle of the day. We don't know. We just know he got killed from running. He got shot and killed for running. No information about a gun, no backstory about him. Were they looking for him? Had he been guilty of some crime? See, those are the kind of questions we never get to ask. Because they shoot you, you're dead, they close the door, they're done. You find something else. So that's a frustration in trying to get accountability out of law enforcement. And trust me, we cannot do it, family, without you. Can't do it without you.
Can I talk about something real quick?
Yes.
So you remember the situation with the girls jumped out on the lady daughter in her yard the other night?
Oh my goodness, yes, I know. I haven't forgot that.
So,
a girl fight.
Yeah, girl fights. It's not just.
It should have been a girl fight.
Yeah, and it got to. It's to a point where, a lot of you young people, and I don't do this a lot, but I'm gonna point accountability towards you. When you running around the streets, man, and you ain't really from nowhere, there's no need in you sitting here talking about you from somewhere when the police come. If you ain't from nowhere before they get there, you ain't from nowhere after.
What?
So it's like you sitting here, you're trying to continue a war that you don't even understand or know of.
Yeah.
And because you're a female, you think you get away with those kind of things, but people could get you too.
Yeah.
You are not exempt. People will kill you dead, especially running up in their yard. So just a bit of food for thought, man. You know, gangbanging ain't. It's not something that you should glorify, man. Because I mean, none of the gangbanging that's considered today is gangbanging, man. Because if you think about what gangs started as, it was for the community, not against it. You know, so if you sitting there and you condone, you know, violence against your own, then you worse than the people that you claiming is doing you harm, man. So, I mean, if you can't put down a gun for your own people, man, and turn around and be scared when, you know, somebody point a gun at you, then, I mean, you know, I can't take you seriously, you know?
Well, you know what? This is sad misdirection of our young people. Somewhere they got it in their head that they could resolve all their issues with a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
And not even understanding there are all kinds of consequences for thinking that way. All kinds of consequences. And the payback, are you ready for that? See, that girl fight you're talking about, a girl fight is one thing. But when you bring your homies with you and they want to threaten with a gang attachment to it, it's like you have opened a can that's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah.
Bite you. See, and their good fortune was that the local element in the neighborhood they were in gave them a pass and let them go back home. And the good news for them, you got a second chance to rethink your foolishness.
But they didn't. They stayed. They stayed.
I know they stayed, but they haven't been back.
No. I like I say, I actually literally hopped in my car and I literally chased them out the area.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm putting myself in danger for a situation I didn't even know about, but that's how I feel about my community.
And you were right about that, and really what they don't understand, you could have been the element from the neighborhood coming to check them too. It's like what you doing, rolling through my neighborhood, making threats against my neighbors. You see, and that's the way retaliation works. You come hit my neighborhood, I'm coming to hit yours. You see, so you technically out of line coming up into somebody else's neighborhood starting some stuff. And when they turn on you and say, oh no, we're not having that, we want to know who you are, we want to know where you from, we want to deal with you, then that's the consequences they put themselves in a position to get. See, so I have very low tolerance for foolishness. I really do, because nowadays that kind of foolishness can cost somebody their life. Okay? It could cost somebody their life on your end or their end. And the truth is, you throwing up all these darn signs for your neighborhood and you don't own nothing. Let me say that one more time. You're throwing up these signs for a neighborhood and you don't own anything on that block. You don't own the liquor store. You don't own the business. You don't own the apartment building you're living in or the home you're living in either. You see, and so when you stand up for this hood, tell me what part of that belongs to you. Really, tell me what you're defending.
Right.
Explain what you're defending. See, because in my husband's day, and I'm going to thank him because I was married to him for a very long time, and as I said, he showed me the true character and qualities of a black man. One of his personal pride things, not only that he went to a traditional Southern black college, and he was proud of that. All the other students he went to school with were proud to be on that campus too. You see, and so one of his biggest things was that his Uncle Pez was a member of the Deacons for Defense of Bogalusa, Louisiana. You see, and we got a generation that don't have a clue who the Deacons were. And the Deacons were the ones that sat in the cut waiting for the Klan to come drag your grandfather out, hang him, and burn your house down. See? So when you want to talk about what black men used to do, they used to do that. Not roll through my neighbor's, my friend, my son's neighborhood trying to start a girl fight and bringing the homies to try to threaten gang violence behind that. Seriously, family, really? So tonight was supposed to be a call-in show.
She said you got a phone call.
You got a phone call. Good. Caller, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh. Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, I can. How you doing, sister?
Glad to hear you. Welcome to Gang Talk.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of your show. I like what you're doing with it.
Bless your heart. You know, that's the kind of news we need to share with each other.
Yeah, I can tell you really about what you be talking about community. And I'm from Detroit, Michigan. And
You're from where?
Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, we love Detroit. We love Detroit.
Yeah, and I could really tell you about community empowerment. But I called in because I got a question.
Okay. If you could speak up just a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I said I called in because I got a question.
Okay.
I was trying to see, hear your point of view on how do you think we can change the narrative of people looking up to entertainers for life advice and change it back to people looking up to people like, especially women, looking up to people like you, or taking it back to people putting people of the status of Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, looking at them for life advice, people like that for life advice instead of entertainers, because the entertainers, they just entertainers. They not really had nothing to do with real life. And I was just wanted to know your perspective on how do you think we change it back to people looking up to putting people on the pedestal of that statue.
Well, you know, that I love that you asked that question. And I love that you ask it that way, because things have changed in that we don't have the kind of leaders we had in Malcolm and Dr. King's day, because they were assassinated. They were assassinated. You see, and it made us, it divided us as a community. We really didn't know where to go after those two murders, and it was a turbulent time. And so a lot of us just went home in grief-struck. And then the Panthers came out. They were a new ray of hope that we thought, oh, we can get something done. They're feeding the young kids during the WIC program before there was a WIC program, and defending our community and standing up as proud, honorable brothers of the neighborhood and sisters too, and doing the right things. But the fact that they used the Constitution to allow them to carry guns, that set a whole new ball of things coming our way, to where right now, to this very day, a black man with a gun is just a moving target. He's just a moving target. Whether you have one, Philando Castillo, in a right to carry state, with his legal, his license and his weapon in his vehicle, was killed by law enforcement. And so it just affirms that if you're a man of color, a black man in this country, and you have a gun, law enforcement just assumes that they have the right to kill you.
Or you're a criminal. Yeah,
you're a criminal. Well, that's what I was telling Marcus first. The first thing you're identified as is a threat. That's the first thing that they identify you, and that's based on your color. You haven't even opened your mouth and said a word, but based on your color, you're perceived as a threat to them. So they always take that position, always. So our leaders have become less effective, where our entertainers have become the new messengers. They become the new messengers from NWA, talking about the horror of the epidemic that was now taking control of our neighborhood. They sung that truth to all of the artists that sung that truth, until it changed into, go ahead and kill that nigger. Go ahead and kill him. It's all right. You see, so when we in our music condone killing men like Marcus, men like you, we really lost our way. But we were under the influence of something that was destroying us as a people. It was destroying us as a people. And what we really need to look at, they gave us a poison so we could kill ourselves. And by distributing it, willingly distributing it for money, we were killing everybody that we gave it to. You see, so the whole point of it was to destroy the black community, and it was very effective. So our messengers became our entertainers. They were either bringing the right message, or in those years, they were bringing the wrong message. But now they're waking up. They're waking up. We have a new attitude. Jay-Z, with his latest album, has turned the corner. Would you agree with that?
I do.
Mm-hmm. Can you see that the entertainer, does that make sense? That our entertainers became the new messenger instead of our elected people?
I think me myself, I think my opinion on entertainers becoming the messengers is I say it a lot, but it's all in what we condone in our own community. It can't be it's Lil Wayne's fault that the kids think about lean and all that. If you sitting out there, I'm gonna just say this: if you're a part of your own community and you watching a 14-year-old sit out there and drink lean and snort Herron or smoke crack, whatever it may be, man, if you do that, then you're allowing it to happen in your community. The change come from you. So if you say no, and the next man say no next to you, you got a whole community of men saying no. If the women are telling the men inside the community, hey, why you letting Lil Billy over there do that, man? If they telling you that, then you're supposed to go out there and enforce what they're telling you. You want to call them queens, then you treat them like a queen and listen to your mother tell you, that boy out there smoking, you need to stop it. And you got to be the one to stop it.
Let me ask this way. Lil Wayne has a lot of followers.
Yeah, he got followers.
He's got followers, and they respect his message, don't they?
I think they mostly respect the fact that he's in the entertainment business. I don't think a lot of people, I don't even think they really respect him per se. Well, I think they respect the music more than anything.
Well, this is why I'm asking, because he is a person that gets opinions about him quite a bit. And you were saying about, we were talking a little bit about his responsibility to his own community. And if he's singing about drinking lean, isn't he telling his followers that's okay?
Yeah, he's giving them the opportunity to say whether or not they want to drink lean. So if I'm, the saying that kids are mirrors is true. It rings true, because if I listen to Nas, then more than likely 99% of the time, my respect level is higher than a person who's listening to Lil Wayne. I'm going to sit here and respect you to the fullest because I understand my history. I understand what's going on around me. But a person who's just listening to Lil Wayne and saying, hey, he the hardest rapper ever, I don't understand how you can even say that when you got people like, Tupac Shakur or whatever, who was taking the time to actually embed himself in the community. He wasn't running around, claiming gangs, and, that's another dude. That dude ain't never seen, anything that have to do with running around with Pyrus, and you got this dude on music talking about he's a Pyru. So that's what I mean by you got a lot of people who claim gangs, man, and don't even, just like DJ Quick said all them years ago, you're too busy claiming, these hoods, but you never even seen it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a matter of people condoning what goes on in the community, man, and I think that's the best way to change everything. And if everybody consider what's going on around them and face the reality of it.
Well, I want to bring it to a bigger stage than that. I think it's an image. It's an image that was thrown at us and glamorized. Glamorized.
Looked up to.
You want to be hard like this. You want to be strapped. You want to go to prison and serve your time so you get your credibility scores and this kind of thing. And so our entertainers did a lot of promoting of that concept. And so it's kind of old for them to realize, well, that didn't really help my people. I sold records and I made a bunch of money, but a lot of people died because of the words that I was perpetuating. And that's the wake up that I feel is coming. And in fairness to the rappers, I really stopped listening. I stopped listening.
Yeah, that's another thing. If you don't condone it, you won't listen to it anyway. So.
But my kids listen.
Yeah,
see, and the truth is, I didn't know who I should be concerned about or who was okay because it was the music of their generation, and I allowed them to listen to what they wanted to listen to. And, it was tricky. It was tricky, especially with folks driving through my neighborhood to kill my neighbor's kids because some of my neighbor's kids was going around trying to kill them. You see, so it was a payback kind of thing that we were living in, and my community was just as guilty as everybody else's. So when the music picked it up and kind of said, well, yeah, this is what's going on, and it's okay, we kind of signed off and said, well, it's okay. It's okay.
Sister, I'm going to cut you off, but I don't knock the entertainment part because it's entertainment. I mean,
exactly.
It's for what it is, but my thing is Earth, Wind, and Fire did the same thing, but they wasn't put on the statue for to speak for the people. It was just left at entertainment. So I'm trying to see how do we shine the light off the entertainers from speaking on real issues and shine it on people that's blessed with it, that's able to carry the people where they need to go.
That comes from you. It starts there. You know what I'm saying?
Truthfully, you have a very valid point.
Yeah.
See, where do we start? See, because the football player, he kneeled for a reason, okay? And that was for the alarming number of officer-involved shootings of black men without justice. And to me, that's the same as when Rosa Parks said on that bus, I'm not moving. And so Cap took a knee for that issue. Did we back him?
Nope.
No. You see, and so I'm not blaming the entertainers anymore. Well, I'm blaming the apathetic in us. That's really who I hold at fault for this.
That's the media control thing. But I'm not really into what the media think. I'm really into what the people need to be thinking, because they can't get that can't be their source of information where they're getting it to who need to be their leader, because they're gonna put the entertainer as that. So I'm saying, like, how can we switch the focus to them a source of where they can follow who they need to be following?
Because
it's always a person. Go ahead.
If we take, like I was saying earlier, man, if we take the time to, the same people that you saying you want these youngsters to see that's not entertainers, it start with you. You got to be the one to say, hey, man, you got to go listen to this or watch this or read this book. If it don't come from you, they not going to start. If you know it and you want them to use those tools and use that information, you got to be the first one. You can't look to nobody to do it. You can't say, hey, you not doing it, because you ain't. So if you taking the time to go out and even read a book to a kid, give them a book. Even if they don't read it, taking that book from you will make him feel elated, because somebody gave him something to learn. You may not see it right at that moment, but at the end, when he leave from there, he gonna tell somebody, hey, I just got this book from this man right here. And he might check it out for 5 minutes, but at the same time, you tried to do that and you gave him a different sense of what you look like. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't take the time to start with you, then, what we do, really don't matter, because you have to start from day one with yourself.
Well, it's a little more involved than that, Marcus. We have the old village saying, each one teach one. Yeah. Okay? But we got a lot of students that ain't in class.
Yeah, they're not.
Okay?
Listening.
And the each one teach one is not being effective now because it's a peer group that doesn't want to hear you. Exactly. They don't care what you think. They don't care what you think about them. They don't care what you think about what they're getting ready to do.
But it's all in your approach, though.
Right. So do y'all think money is the influence over that?
No.
I don't think money. I don't think money influences too much of. Everybody know they got to get some kind of money, but I think more people are actually understanding that, money is financial slavery. You know, if you put yourself in a predicament where you going to work to do everything that somebody else tell you to do, but when you come home, you bringing the problems to your family, that's something you got to deal with in yourself.
Well, let's talk about the players in the NFL.
Oh.
Okay. Are they under financial pressure?
Yeah, a lot of them.
A lot of them. Every one of them that didn't back up Cap. And I posed the question, would the world crumble if African-American NFL players didn't play for a month?
I think so.
A week. A Sunday.
I think it'll devastate America. What'd you say, brother?
I was saying, I see what Sister's saying, but to me, I mean, I like the NFL for entertainment. I mean, that's entertainment too, but to me, it serves no real life purpose.
Right.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it is strictly entertainment.
I get what you're saying, but for the dudes that's playing football, it has a purpose. You know, it's their life. We don't.
Money.
It's a livelihood,
right? But you have a lot of those dudes. Like I know a couple guys myself, right? But it's not about the money for them. Most of them wouldn't know what to do without football. That's their form of that's their career. That's their work. Just like a person to go to a security job for 50 years, you got people that play the NFL and they can't think of nothing else. You know, football is their life. That's all they know. That's all they breathe. That's all they sleep. So I don't take away from, you know, that part of entertainment, because at the end of the day, while, you know, you got folks that's maybe boycotting the NFL or whatever, you taking out the mouths of people, the same people you saying we should send folks to idolize or look at. It's a lot of youngsters that come out of college every year, you know, that want to be able to make a difference, but they know they have to entertain. That's what they have to do. Just like I said, a security guard going to work, he has to do that job to get what he got coming.
This is a bigger issue. It's a bigger issue, and what the frustration for us is our lack of unity about our own agendas. That's really what's frustrating all of us. We don't seem to come together about anything. We're not 100% behind Black Lives Matter. We're not 100% behind Cap and his position. We're not 100% behind the boycott. And as I suggested, I have no problem with boycotting. None whatsoever. But I need to know who we're boycotting.
Exactly.
Tell me who we're boycotting, how long we're boycotting them. Is it a formal thing? Is everybody on board? Or is it just me, Marcus, and you? You see, that's what's frustrating us as a people. We can't seem to unify. And for me, this is the most serious challenge to us right now, is burying our own children. The rest of it just doesn't matter to me more than that does. And to see the impact that crisis is having on the generation just shows me how urgent it is for us to wake up as a people and get proactive about it. So for me, it crosses all the lines, including entertainment, including local elected people, which I'm not supposed to badmouth anybody, but I haven't gotten anything from an elected official in so long, I stopped entertaining them. Really, it became a community-minded movement. And so this is what I'm suggesting. Marcus says to reach out to those young folks, and I agree. But we have to reach out to them in a group. It has to be a group, see, because that one individual still has the pressure to go back to his block, have his homies tell him, oh, man, you just wasted your time over there talking to them. They ain't going to do nothing for you. You see, and that's what happens too often. We get the one child, we talk to him, we give him all the good news, then he goes back and has it all torn away by his crew. You see, so we have to get them together so there's an agreement among them that their life has value. That's the most important message we could tell our children, that their lives have value. How do we do that? That's the question I'm really asking my people to answer. And I'm really asking it not of you, caller on the phone. And what's your name, honey? You mind telling me?
Darnell.
Darnell? I'm so happy to talk to you, Darnell, because you know that we're all in this together. We are all in this together, from Detroit to Chicago to L.A. to Memphis. We're all in this together. And the message really is the same, that the lives of our children have value, and we don't want them just thrown away in a blink. We just want them to realize that they deserve more than what they've been given and what they're giving themselves. So whoever our messenger is, whether he's in entertainment or sports or whatever, his presence has to be uplifting. He can't just be a bump on the log with a name and a big fat paycheck and he's just sitting there getting paid. Yeah. We expect more from them than just that. So I see that as a pressure on the NFL players.
Right, sister. I want to add this last point, and I'm going to go. And you're definitely right. And I feel like it don't even have to be that greater number of people. I feel like if it was 12 for biblical-wise, I mean, I feel like 1,200 today of people with a strong foundation, I feel like it'll have people something for to stand on.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? It's coming. And it's coming right now. And it's coming in the 30-year-old something age group. They're the ones they're not going to have it. They see everything clearly, very clearly. And they have the social media. They have the mindset that I don't want this for myself. I want something more. And so that's the joy that I'm getting after all these years of working in my community about this, to see that finally turning around. Really. And so I haven't heard any crisis about Detroit, which makes me happy. But I keep my eyes on Chicago, because Chicago has just kind of tipped over the cliff lately in the last year or so. You know, so that's what lets me know very clearly it's a national crisis for us as a people. And I don't have a problem keeping it just fixated on us as a people.
Right, but we can't, like I was saying, we can't be delusional and think we're going to save everybody, because unfortunately that's just not going to happen. So
you're right. We're not going to save everybody, but the beauty is the majority are coming this way. The majority are coming this way. And so that little element is becoming smaller and smaller. And as we keep our eyes on it, it's going to get even smaller. And we're going to start retrieving some folks that are caught up in that madness. I'm not expecting 100%, but 90 is close enough.
90 is close enough.
I'll take 90. I'll take 85. And right now in L.A., we're about at 82.5. So, you know, that's good news to share with Detroit, because our homicides are down. And that's the best news a show like this could bring anybody. Yeah. Something's changing. I don't know if it's 45 is a reason for it. I don't know if he was a wake-up call. I don't know if Barack Obama was a wake-up call. I don't know if Michael Brown's shooting in Ferguson, Trayvon Martin's shooting, Sandra Bland killed in lockup. I don't know if those were the wake-up calls, but we are waking up, and that's the best news that this show could share with our community family.
I keep thinking about what Taco say all the time when he be like, be the resource for the family, for the community. And the life you save may just be
your own. Yeah.
You know, and if you don't take the time, that's why I say it so much, man. If you don't start with you, then, you know, the change that you want to see ain't going to happen, man. Because if you continue to condone it just because it's happening in your community, you laugh it off, and then when you're tired of it, you say something, nobody's going to respect the fact that you want it to stop. Because yesterday you was continuing that show, you know. So if you want that show to end, then you have to start with with how they say, patient zero, man. And you got to be the first person to be willing to change. You can't expect nobody else to do what you're asking. You know, if you're not the one that is really going out there trying to put forth the effort, man, you got to be the example, brother. That's the only way that we gonna change, if we be the example and take care of ourselves, you know, by ourselves, man. You know, we don't need all the extra, you know, hey, we need your help. We can't do it without you. We can do it, together, and we don't have to go nowhere else, man. We could police our own. We could.
Oh, no.
We could take it.
Let's not go that far.
No, I mean, not in that sense with guns and stuff, but as far as trying to make sure the respect level amongst the youth is right, I mean, it starts with us. That's my opinion of it.
Well, what I was going to suggest, we have an organization, 2 organizations out here. One's called the Southern California Ceasefire Committee. The other one's the Watts Gang Task Force. And both of these bodies are made up with community-minded folks that have the same spirit that you have.
Yep.
That they want to see a change for their kids. They want to see a change for their community. So we came together and formed that bond. And the members of that community became the street soldiers that go out and talk to the gangs. They're the ones. The men out here put their lives on the line, go out and talk to the neighborhoods that are most affected. And the best part that they do is when something jumps off, like that girl fight we were just talking about. One of our ceasefire members showed up and had a conversation with the perpetrators and let them know, we watch this neighborhood. That means now we have our eyes on you. We don't want any trouble for the family, and we don't want any trouble for you. So how do we make things right so everybody gets to go home tonight in the way they came? Unharmed, unhurt. And so these are the kinds of things that have been working for us out here. That's to get our own people involved. And our biggest deficit is the apathetic amongst us that don't care. See, so what will help is to call out and find neighbors, because that's kind of how this started. We kind of met at somebody's death. I'm sorry to say it that way, but we've had so many deaths that we've met at. These are the organizations that have come out because of that. But it's all community-based. I want to stress that, because leadership elected people did not develop Southern California Ceasefire Committee. Absolutely not. And Watts Gang Task Force, because that's several communities involved with that, have the police in partnership with them, but it's a community effort. That's really what I want to stress to you. It's not going to happen until we get involved. So trust me, LA is praying for you. We want you to succeed. We want our children to know that they mean something to us.
You see, Marcus, she really walking. That's why we got to listen to her.
I listen to her every day, brother. I get most of the stuff I'm talking about from her. So,
right, I can't never argue nothing she says.
Man, you see when she put.
I don't just listen to anybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I mean when I say, it starts with you, man. If you want them to listen to you, you got to be the one to use the mindset that you already got and tell it to them. Real recognize real. You know the saying. Yeah. So if you telling them something.
My church always open though.
Yeah, if you go out and be the one that's trying to interact with them, man, they'll come wherever you want them to go. But telling them to come to church and all that, and just telling them that is not going to work.
Let me say this. The church has resources they're not even using.
Exactly.
And the biggest one they need to right now is to have that youth fellowship. Really, that's the biggest thing. And if you entice them in with food and a chance to sing, they'll come for both. They'll come for both. And then that way, you get your forum, you get to talk to them directly and ask them the questions that you'd like the answers to. And they'll tell you. But if you come and tell them, oh, Jesus, you're going to burn in hell, they're going to run. They're going to run. But all of our churches.
Same thing I did.
Yeah, but see, our churches are dropping the ball with our kids. If you're a church and you don't have a youth fellowship, you're failing the message. Really, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. That guy in the pew is already saved. So why is he in the sanctuary on Sunday? He's already saved. Jesus came for the lost, didn't he? He came for the lost. And where are the lost? They're out in the street. See, and our churches could really do a big difference by developing that youth fellowship and giving our kids a place to come that's safe, that they can get something out of it, singing, dancing, anything like that, and then you get to talk to them. That's where the real work is.
Yeah, that's why, sister, next time I'm out there, I'm gonna get with Poetess, and I definitely need to learn some of the blueprint of what you know.
Okay.
And apply it that way.
That's what's up.
That's what's going to work, honey.
And I'm going to keep watching the show.
Well, God bless you, and thank you so much for calling, because you know that we covered a lot of information thanks to you. We got 5 minutes, so look.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Shout out to Detroit, our sister city. We love you. We love you, Motor City. We love you, Motown. Don't ever forget that. We got history. Look, we got history. And I'm a Motown brat. But look, last week, I brought the Mad Dog. And it was kind of a joke. But I know this is what the real drink is. So I just, out of respect, I came back for 2 reasons tonight to show you that I know that it's Hennessy. It's not Mad Dog. Okay. I brought the blunts back because we know you spill the Hennessy and you raise the blunt for the homies. So that's what we're here. We've got 3 glasses tonight. We're going to raise a blunt and toast the homies, all of them that have died in this nightmare, and just give it to a blanket to all of them. Not by neighborhood, all of them. So Poetess has agreed that we can open this Hennessy and have a sip. Mark is going to open the blunt, even if he doesn't smoke it.
Lord.
And I'm going to toast that man that told me that, you know, black men are all right. And he, bless his heart, Dale, didn't just tell me that. He proved it by the man and the way that he lived. And he was such a blessing. Just a little bit.
I gave you a little.
Okay.
You ready?
Just a little bit, because she got to work, too.
Y'all making me feel like I'm yeah, okay.
Well, this is mine. Here, you take this one.
I'm going to take that one.
Okay. Come on in here.
I'm a mess. I don't want to get on.
Come on.
Oh, come on, girl.
You better stop it.
Come on. This is the Dale and all the brothers of our neighborhood. Come on over here, girl. This is our hostess.
That's the poetess with the moetess.
That's right. This is to all of you. We love you.
I would spill it on the floor for the homies, but I'll have to clean it.
It's Hennessy. We're not going to spill the Hennessy, okay? God bless you, community family, and thank you. Thank you.
I couldn't help it. I had to taste it.
That's all right. Now, hey,
It
I
ain't
understand.
151, but it's good.
151, no.
Yeah.
Well, Skipp talked about what we did with that 151
Hey, man,
last
just
week.
I want to say that, too. I miss you, Skipp. I really miss you, Skipp. I'm the light-skinned version of you tonight. Keep your head to the sky.
God bless you, community family, and thank you for listening. We'll be back next week.